Okay, we're at a couple minutes past 9 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order, the November 2nd, 2021 McLeod County Board of Commissioners. But I have just a little something I want to say before we get started. I'm going to ask for a moment of silence today, and one of the people that I'm asking for is a local resident that was killed probably almost 80 years ago. His name is Alan Peterson. He was born in McLeod County in Broughton area, and he went into the mill. I'm just going to give you a short version. I guess I was hoping it was in our local paper, but it was in the Hutchison paper. He started mink farming, and he went into the service at about 21 years old and got killed in action. He was a bombardier on a bombing mission, and his remains were moved around and finally identified this last summer, and his body was brought back to Minnesota, and we buried. I was proud to be participating in his burial here in Glencoe on Saturday. So that's the person that I'll be asking for a moment of silence after the Pledge of Allegiance, along with Colin Powell, that died in the last couple of weeks. So I'd ask you to stay standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, and I will. There's just a little bit of information on our, I'll call him one of our favorite sons out of McLeod County. I'll leave it with Sheila if anybody wants to take a look at it today. It tells a little bit about him. Obviously, he died before I was even born. Most of us here too. Okay, consideration of agenda items. Any additions or corrections?
Mr. Chair, I have an addition to the agenda.
Go ahead.
Under administration, I'm going to need to add item 9 to consider approval to use up to $13,000 of allocated funds from the dental liability account to cover the 9% increase for the 2022 dental insurance premiums. The balance of this account as of November 1, 2021 is $27,984. And I would like to say actually cover up to a 9% increase.
You wanted that under what?
Item N, under
N,
administration.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other additions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, will someone make a motion to accept agenda items? Motion's been made by Commissioner Nagel. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Smalls. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda's accepted. Consent agenda. Any additions or corrections to it? Motion's been made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Smalls. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. COVID-19. Barrett's not here. Sheila, are you taking that?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Barrett could not be with us this morning, so she asked that we provide her update. As of Monday, November 1st, McLeod County has had a total of 6,220 positive cases of COVID-19. That's an increase of 328 new cases since your last board meeting on October 19th, where Barrett reported 5,892 positive cases. Also, as of November 1, reinfection cases are now added to the COVID-19 web data page. 22.5% of the new cases were children under 18. Of the new cases, 6 people needed hospitalization and 0 were admitted to the ICU. There are currently 20 active cases that require isolation. Unfortunately, we have had 74 COVID-19 related deaths since the start of the pandemic. Please check out the COVID-19 dashboard on the county website's homepage for more statistics. They continue to provide COVID-19 vaccinations at the government center here on a weekly basis. Local public health has held 66 vaccination clinics. They have administered 5,170 first doses, 3,912 second doses, and 31 third doses and 60 booster doses. That's a total of 9,181 doses administered. Local public health has one vaccination clinic scheduled for this week, and that's on November 4th. You can check out our county website for more information or to register for a clinic, and they are now offering both Moderna and Pfizer vaccinations. So as of October 26th, 53.8% of people in McLeod County have received at least one dose, and I won't read the age breakdown for that. They are gearing up for the announcement of the Pfizer vaccine for 5 to 11-year-olds. Pfizer is already approved via emergency use authorization for the 5 to 11-year-olds. The Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices will be meeting on November 2nd, so today, and they provide the guidance piece for all immunizations. After that, the CDC will give their final approval. McLeod County Public Health does not anticipate vaccinating this age group this week, but hopefully the following. That's all.
Sheila, do you happen to know, or did she leave a message on what is the testing available yet at the Armory, or is that?
It's not listed on here, but yes, it is. As Commissioner Nagel, it is open, correct?
What are hours or roughly?
She told us last week, or 2 weeks ago, it was like Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thursday and Friday sounds right.
It's on the website?
It's on our website.
Okay, very
correct.
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works, John. Good morning, John.
Morning. 2 items for you, 2 project finals. First one is to consider approval of final acceptance and payment of $28,618.75. That's to Schaefer Contracting. That was the contractor that did our state aid project 4360231, 4360333, and 43615.016. That was the 8 miles of concrete overlay we did this summer. And those projects have been completed satisfactorily, and we recommend final acceptance. A couple things on that. And the side note with that, we are going to do some stuff in-house with that on some shouldering in the spring, as well as we were making sure some of the seeding took. We've had to reseed that a couple times outside of the contractor's fault and so forth, Mother Nature, extra rains and so forth. So we touched up some of those, and then if they don't take in the spring, we'll monitor them and might have to do some reseeding, and then the shouldering like I mentioned.
Okay, it was me that asked to get it pulled off to consent, and I wanted John to speak to it. It's just, the road is a fantastic road. I mean, there's a little cosmetic stuff, and I get a couple calls, and that just gets the schedule out there.
Sure.
And I think we're all aware of what it needs. There's a couple little touch-ups. I happen to have one of those driveways that just is in a, it just washes away, but it's either too dry or else we get heavy rain. But no, I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware, and the public is aware now as well.
Yep.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
question, John. Turf restoration, is that on the contractor then as we move into next year? Or-
No, so it was, initially they reseeded it and everything per the contract, but then with the extra rains we have, we could have hired them back to do it at the cost of unit prices, but it was cheaper for us to do it ourselves. We have the hydro seeder, so we touched them up ourselves.
No, and I agree. It's just something we should keep an eye on, especially, it's not like the old days of every place was a farm place. Now some of them are lack of a better word, city dwellers, and they have no ways to fix them up, so we need to just stay on top of that. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
move to approve request to final state aid project 4362-031, 43-603-033, and 43-615 for 061 for the amount of $28,618.75.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Smalls to accept the roads as completed. Is there a second? seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead, John.
Item B, consider final approval and acceptance and payment of $22,363.34 to Everstrong Construction. That's out of Redwood Falls, and they did state project 43611-013. That was our bridge replacement on County Road 11 over the South Fork of the Crow River that we did a couple years ago. Their final paperwork finally came in and stuff, so we're ready to approve that.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
move to approve final acceptance and payment to Everstrong Construction, State Aid Project 43-611-013 for the amount of $22,363.34.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Smalls to approve the payment, the final payment of the bridge replacement. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Quick note, Denix did get going today on that overlay on Airport Road or County Road 115, so a little busy area. If people are listening, I recommend they avoid that area for the day. Probably it's going to be a little congested, but hopefully that'll get done today.
Did they pull out of Morningside to go over there?
Yeah, the paving's all completed on Morningside. We'll have some more updates at the workshop, but yeah, paving was completed yesterday on Morningside.
Okay, I did just a little bit that I know. That's a good crew. I hope I'm not cursing it, but them guys have been, that crew they moved in here later, they're working, so
Yeah.
I hope I don't put a hex on them. I did watch, and they had to final lift on yesterday, so it looks pretty good. So now it goes to signage and painting. Is that what's?
Signage painting, some concrete work today, I understand. Yep, and some final, we'll have to do some final turf work with, how we leave it for the winter yet with dormant seed, or we gotta look at some of that, how we're gonna restore that.
Okay, and one other, as long as you're up here, one quick question. I got two calls, or one call in person and one call. Did you, where's County Road 4 on our 13? Where's that on our schedule?
County Road 4 or
Yeah, the one by Broughton to
13?
Yeah, 13, I believe.
Yeah, that's we're identifying a project in the 5-year plan in the out years. I want to say it was either, without looking, 2023, I want to say, 23, 24 maybe. Looking at some sort of a rehab project on that.
Okay, the questions were from people that lived on it. They, it must have been in the condition of R15. I haven't driven it for a while, but it must be pretty broke up.
I think some of the things we're considering, initially we were talking about a reclamation project where we grind the whole thing up. But after looking at the condition, maybe a maintenance overlay like we did up on 16 by Silver Lake would be what we consider.
Okay.
So we're still kind of scoping that.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
we have a time constraint for an item it's item B under county administration. I'm wondering if we can please move ahead. It is not on your paper, that's why I have it on the screen behind you. You have the wrong copy of the agenda. It is correct online.
What's the correct procedure, Mike? Do
It
we
is-
need a motion to change our
It-
routine?
It's not a
Okay.
public hearing,
No,
Mr. Chair.
I'm fine for taking it.
So Liz will bring you a new copy, but we're asking for item B, consider approval of proposed 23rd Street easement agreement on property in Glencoe, Minnesota to be reviewed now, just so that Mr. Rodeberg is attending to give you information, and then he would be able to go to his meeting in Hutchinson.
I'm fine with that. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. Appreciate the time. Thanks for taking me ahead of time here a little bit. Back in the 1960s, there was a trunk sanitary sewer plan done by the city of Glencoe that showed a corridor on this 23rd Street, which is on the south side of your North Complex. There were some additional studies done in 2005 when there were, a couple thousand lots proposed in that area, again, with the goal of preserving that corridor for transportation and sanitary sewer. I know there were some discussions between the city and county at that time that Mark can probably enlighten you on. When the property was proposed to be sold, we were asked to look at that and what we could do to develop a description to preserve the needed corridor for both transportation and sanitary sewer. So we worked with our transportation group and Jeff Roush, Pellin and Land Surveying, and came up with a proposed easement. We tried to set that in there so we had the least amount of impact on the existing building and the parking lots, and I think we've done that. And so we were asking, I know we had talked several months ago about looking to preserve that as part of the sale of the property. So I think that's what we're talking about here today, is making sure that that gets acknowledged or recorded somehow so that that corridor is preserved for future sewer and transportation use.
I personally know a little bit about it. I don't know, Mark, do you want to comment on it? I mean, it's necessary.
Yeah, I guess I handed out some stuff here this morning, just to give you some history. Like John said, back in the late 60s, we identified an area for a trunk sanitary sewer. Our wastewater treatment plant is over behind Bumps on Morningside and 7th Street. And then if you look at this very old map, actually it's where it says like FAR site. We had a development over there, FAR development, in the early 2000s. But on that end of town, we have a lift station, which currently pumps sewage back to the wastewater treatment plant out from like the Miller manufacturer area. The ideal plan, as was proposed back in the late 60s, was a gravity flow system, and that would flow on 23rd Street. And we are currently, with our North Trunk Sewer, we go north of the high school on Pryor Avenue up to where the pavement ends by the football field complex. So we're a few blocks away, but we want to preserve that corridor for future development. I guess we never had approached the county previously because the county did own the property, and 15, 20 years ago, I don't know that anybody would have ever thought you would have been selling it. So we did make a presentation, I think, back in May of this year. John went back, tried to work with Pellin and Land Surveyors to make a minimal impact. We're actually curving the road a little bit from 23rd Street to the east to move kind of to the south of your property. But we did look at that corridor back in the early 2000s when you did an expansion up on the North Complex. So it was taken into consideration at that time, and we're just asking that we maintain that easement into the future.
I'm good. I personally am good with it. It's necessary, and Sheila, it's not impacting. We've accepted an offer on that property, and it's not impacting anything that I'm aware of, and sounds like a necessary thing for the city. So
We spoke with the realtor that is working with ourselves and also the client, and there's no concern. This is a benefit to have this resolved for them.
I think, it's a benefit for everyone in the
And we
long
worked
run.
with the property or the realtor at the time to make sure that we kept this out and didn't impact the parking.
I don't know if you all recall, but we did have this during workshops. We've discussed this. You've seen these drawings and redrawings already with John, Mark, and John, everyone that's here. So we just didn't know that we were going to keep moving it forward, and that's why it's coming today.
So what's the verbiage we need on a resolution or an amendment? Or is this what do we need to do here?
Consider approval of proposed 23rd Street easement agreement on property in Glencoe, Minnesota.
It's not proposed any longer.
Oh, I'm sorry. So consider approval?
Yes.
Of 23rd Street.
And just this does impact our property, but it impacts it on the south and the east where it doesn't matter. And had we not done this, it very well could have impacted our property along that entire south line. That would have gotten the easement very close to our building and eliminated some of the parking there. By doing this, we're helping out the city by getting the corridor dedicated, and it's not costing them any money. And we're helping our future owner of that property by getting it designated, and then they know that their lot and parking and building is not going to be impacted. So it's a win-win. Good idea.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Nagel and seconded by Commissioner Smalls. Any more discussion? My only comment is already stated. It's good for everyone. I think it's good we got it, and I think it's all transparent, so we're good to go.
Okay, thank you,
All-
Mr. Chair.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Just a quick update on Morningside, as
Go ahead.
we're working on that. Like John noted, paving's done, looks very good. The contractor's out there today trying to place the rest of the concrete work and trying to finish up the landscaping work kind of behind the curb. So we're hoping to get some dormant seating done maybe by the end of the week here. Lighting's proposed for either later this week or next week. You can see the pole standards or the bases are in, but they have some wiring left to do. Of course, they got to get that done before you finish the landscaping. The main issue at this point is the striping. So the weather looks good now, warm enough for next week, so it's getting them scheduled. We haven't got a firm schedule on the striping, but once that's done, we should be able to open up the road maybe by the end of next week.
That'd be great. I got a lot of people excited now. They can see the end of the light at the end of the tunnel, plus school bus drivers can cut 20
it'd be
minutes
great.
off their route, according to what they tell me.
One thing I'll add too, I talked with Brody, the inspector today. They are going to try to open up 11th Street intersection.
Right.
So we're going to leave it closed today for the concrete, but tomorrow 11th Street
Yeah,
intersection.
that needs to get,
be
obviously,
open.
quick trip, yeah. And for whatever it's worth, John, that you're here, Brody's I got a number of calls. People like him. We wish we'd have had him there earlier, maybe, because people call and tell me they like talking with him. So.
He's been terrific, and it's nice to have somebody from Glencoe actually on the project. He knows people, and he's a good employee, a good engineer.
Good.
So, thank you.
And Mr. Chair, one question. Trail paving will occur here as the season wraps up?
The what now?
The trail, paving of the trail?
Yeah, the trail should have been paved yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So that was all done. There was one soft spot, we understand, that we'll have to look at in the spring, but yeah, trail's done as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you, John.
All right. Auditor Treasurer Connie. Good morning, Connie.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board. Today I am here to consider the approval of County Ditch 35 special meeting minutes dated October 19th, 2021, and also to consider adopting Resolution 21CB-33 to ratify the order establishing a new joint drainage authority, ratifying actions, and directing further proceedings. So future vacancies on the Joint Drainage Authority Board shall be filled by the successor commissioner from the district indicated. The McLeod County Drainage Authority initiated proceedings to redetermine benefits of CD 35, and during the pending proceedings, evidence was received from the appointed viewers that CD 35 also benefited properties in Wright County. In order to include benefits in Wright County, the McLeod County Drainage Authority must create a joint drainage authority to include at least one member from Wright County and establish a multi-county joint system. On October 19th, 2021, the designated commissioners from McLeod and Wright counties met to adopt the findings in order establishing the new joint drainage authority, ratifying actions, and directing further proceedings to formulate the joint county drainage authority of McLeod and Wright counties from JD 35 McLeod Wright.
Okay, first of all, I'll make the motion to, being I was there, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes to the 35 special meeting on October 19th.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Smalls. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are accepted. And consideration of the resolution, we'll need a motion on that, at least for the purpose of discussion, if nothing else. But
Mr. Chair, move adoption of Resolution 21-CB-33, establishing a new joint drainage authority.
a motion's been made by Commissioner Spalls to accept Resolution 21CB33. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any more discussion? I was at a meeting, and it all looks in order to me. It's just some of the things we do. It's not much property, but it looks to me like it's being done properly, so.
Yep.
Hearing no more discussion, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Connie.
Okay, the next item is the notification to the county board of the proposed City of Hutchinson tax increment financing 4-22 plan per Minnesota statute section 469.175 subdivision 2. The draft TIF plan and fiscal impact notice were included in the board's packet. The City of Hutchinson proposes to establish a new TIF district. The district is being created to enable the redevelopment of the Jorgensen Hotel site, which is located at the intersection of Washington Avenue and Highway 15 or Main Street. Appendix A of the TIF plan proposes the redevelopment of the site as an upscale 40-room hotel. The existing first floor of the office spaces would be retained, and the top 2 floors of the current building would be renovated to create 10 hotel rooms on each level, and 2 additional floors created pending structural analysis. The city had scheduled a public hearing for Tuesday, November 23rd. However, just this morning, I also passed out to the board a letter that I received from Ehlers. They have changed or delayed that public hearing. The letter states to allow for additional time to address some related issues. The public hearing has been delayed until December 14th, 2021. It will still be at approximately 5:30 p.m. in the Council City Chambers of Hutchinson City Center to receive public input on the proposed TIF district. And comments or questions may be directed to the city administrator at 320-587-5151. Questions or comments? So certainly it is exciting to see growth in the city.
And I agree, I mean, that's an old building that I guess is in fairly good structural shape, but my question for Mr. Young is, when you do a TIF district, can you do it just on that building, or is that, how do you actually give a legal description on a TIF district? Is it just based on that building, or?
The city gets to decide what land is going to be within that TIF district. I don't know if it's just that building, or if it includes any of the parking lots, or if it includes any other area. But what you accomplish by it is that you capture the increase in tax revenue, and that gets then paid back to the city for their redevelopment costs until those are repaid in full.
Good. There's more curiosity than anything. I just didn't. I've used districts as a block or something before, but.
So also within your packet, they did have the TIF District 4, I believe, highlighted, and this is one of the projects within that district, so 4-22, essentially.
Your wishes?
It's just a notification. Okay.
Okay, D?
Item D is to consider the reassignment and appointment of H2 Overviewers, LLC, to complete the redetermination of benefits and damages on County Ditch 12A, County Ditch 28, and Joint Ditch 28 McLeod Carver, as the Drainage Authority determines that the original benefits or damages do not reflect reasonable present-day land values, according to Minnesota Statute Chapter 103E, Section 103E.351. An opportunity has been presented to work with new to McLeod County viewers. H2 Overviewers, LLC, out of East Grand Forks, Minnesota, is available and able to fit into their schedule the next drainage systems in line to be redetermined, which are the CD 12A 28 and JD 28 McLeod Carver. H2 Overviewers will be able to complete these systems with expedited service in approximately 6 months, and have proposed a per acre base rate of $3.98. Suggested viewers include Brian Murphy, Aaron Goman, Larry Murphy, along with Robert Conley and Kenneth DeGeyer as alternate viewers. As you may know, systems CD12A, CD28, and JD28 McLeod Carver were previously brought to the board and had viewers appointed on July 3rd, 2018, April 16th, 2019, and March 29th, 2019, respectively. The oath of viewers has not been administered, and there has been no work started to date from those viewers. The viewers, as currently assigned to the 3 systems above, will still be moving forward, likely in this fall and winter timeframe, with McLeod County redeterminations on systems CD11 and JD11, McLeod Right, of which they were originally appointed on April 16th, 2019, and March 29th, 2019, respectively.
What, do you need something from us today as a board? Do we need to,
You would need to,
I don't see that.
item D, consider the reassignment and appointment of the viewers.
So you had previously appointed viewers.
Sorry.
They aren't going to get it done for quite a while. And so this other group is coming in, and if you approve this, they're going to take over and they're going to do it.
I'll move to reassign these ditches to H2 overviewers and just with the comment that for no other reason than expediency. I mean, we just want to get moving. We've been talking about it for a while and a little behind. The windows between crops and winter are short, so.
Second that.
Motion made by Kruger and seconded by Commissioner Wright. Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Just a question, Connie, to educate me a little bit. The estimated cost per acre by the Joe Jacobs group, is it similar to what H2 overviewers are quoting us as an estimate for this project?
Joe Jacobs Group always estimates between $4 and $5 per acre. And they've pretty much hit that mark. Sometimes when it's smaller systems and they get a lot of questions from those landowners, they go, high on the higher side of that, but this is in line with cost.
Thank you.
This was a good question, Commissioner, and that's okay to ask these kinds of questions because this is a more technological, if that's a good word, of viewers, and hopefully they actually are a little cheaper, and hopefully it'll help our staff as well. But
Well, and these are the viewers that did our joint ditch 17 and 18, so recall that and recall the issues that we had there.
that is full transparency. You're correct.
Not that we don't all learn from our mistakes, but
Yeah, for what it's worth, I've followed him. Mike's right. He's been involved with that the whole time, as long with Commissioner Wright. I've done a lot. I've followed him along, and I've done a lot of research with the people that are using them, and there's been some growth in their redeterminations. They're a little bit more adapted now to this area of ag land and city versus the Red River Valley. So I'm excited, and I think we've got all the caution flags where they need to be. So hopefully we'll see how it goes. But the questions are good, and ask them if you got them. So, any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So when you'll do the oath, and you take care of all the rest of this, or?
Yes, they come
Okay,
into
very
my
good.
office and do the oath.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will, you're up for the jail. Good morning.
Good morning. I just have one item today for consideration. That's approval of the contract with TKC Telecom LLC for inmate phone services in McLeod County Jail beginning in January. 5-year contract starting this January. We currently work with TKC Turnkey for our video visitation, commissary, other needs. This will be a switch in vendors, and the hope is to streamline everything into one simple system and make it easier on staff. And there is no cost to the jail for any of this, as they get a commission out of the phone calls and such.
Move to approve the contract.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve the contract. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Nagel. Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Mr. Young.
we're only 6 minutes late. That's pretty good. The first item that I have is to approve a mediation agreement with Jim Yarish. Jim Yarish is the one who did the last mediation that we didn't actually have to mediate because he settled it prior to our mediation. That will involve your engineer, Commissioner Schmalz and myself. It'll take place on the 16th. We are court-ordered to do mediation to attempt to resolve this matter with the Watershed, McLeod parcel and Goodwill Hunting. It's 5 parcels on County Road 15. There are 2 other matters that are still outstanding, and we will come to you with a possible settlement on those matters after Commissioner Schmalz and John Brunkhorst and I have had a chance to get together. So we need to approve this agreement to mediate and I just got it yesterday, but I think that a similar one is in your packet from when we last did a mediation agreement. Essentially what we're agreeing to is that nothing that we say in our mediation is admissible at trial because it's a part of settlement discussions. We're agreeing that Jim Yarish isn't our attorney. We're not his client, so we don't have attorney-client relationship, and nor does the other side. And that we agree to do this in good faith and to pay his fee. So I would recommend that we approve it.
I'm good with it. It sounds pretty well clear-cut there.
Sounds like that's where we are. I'll make a motion to approve the agreement.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Wright to approve and seconded by Commissioner Nagel. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of the agreement to mediate, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. You've got a B, Mike, so.
The second item is your evaluation of your county administrator and what process that you wish to do, whether you wish me to be involved or not to be involved, whether you wish to do an evaluation at all. So if you want me to be involved, I would be happy to do that. What I've done in the past is I've contacted each of you individually ahead of time, asked you what's good, what's bad, what needs improvement, what doesn't need improvement, and any suggestions that you might have along with a generalized rating. And then I compile those. We have a closed meeting, and I report to you what the various findings are that I've made, and then you are free to make any comments. And then we open it up to give a summary of the evaluation to the public. And if you want to do that again, that's fine with me. I can't do it on the 16th because of that mediation that we have. By the way, that is set to go to trial on November 30th and December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So, but we could do it on the 23rd if you wish. You could have a special meeting, and it would be, and you're already set to have a Health and Human Services meeting on that date, and we could have a county board meeting, a closed county board meeting, and then an open county board meeting after your Health and Human Services. The closed county board meeting would deal with this evaluation and any possible settlements that there might be for Selco, Pashusta, McLeod, Goodwill Hunting, Vorlicek. So if that's how you want to do it, that's fine with me. If you want to do it sometime in December, that's fine with me.
This 23rd is in November, is what you're saying?
Correct.
And when was the last evaluation? I just don't remember. Was that a year?
In November.
It was a year ago. I don't fix anything that isn't broke. What you just went through is a good, nice scenario for me, so I'm just one.
I agree. I think that Mr. Young should be involved in the process, and the 23rd is a good time.
Right, and I think it's worth the time because we have the 2 topics then to take care of and Health and Human Services, so it's a good use of our time.
There we are.
Need a motion? Do we need one?
Well, you are going to need a motion because you are going to have first a closed meeting after your Health and Human Services meeting, and then you're going to have an open meeting to to involve any possible settlements of those condemnation matters. And I anticipate that there are going to be at least 2.
So we're basically setting another board meeting.
Exactly.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
do I need to be present?
Are you not scheduled to be here?
I will be out of state. I will not get back until around noon, I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't have to apologize. I think you ought to be here for your evaluation.
I didn't even realize it because
No,
I
that's good.
scheduled it around
Let's
board
just do
meetings.
another
I'm
date.
sorry.
That-
But it would still be helpful to have a special meeting on that 23rd so that we can, and it would be very, very brief then, but we can set another time. What are your meeting dates in December? The first one is that you also have your truth and taxation meeting, so it's going to have to be the second one.
Okay, one moment.
Well, they're looking, it still makes sense for the 23rd for the condemnation
Yes.
pieces of it.
Well, and if we reach a resolution at our mediation, that will come to you at that meeting as well.
Right.
So I believe the next meeting would be December 21st.
Yeah, I do. All right, I'll try to clean this up a little bit. I've moved to set a special meeting for November 23rd. Give me the time, I suppose.
Immediately following the Health and Human Services.
Immediately following the Health and Human Services.
Or if you want to set it at 11, that's fine too. I don't care.
Let's say 11, in case there's any issues.
Very good. Motion's been made by Commissioner Nagel to propose a November 23rd, 11 a.m. 2021 board meeting. Is there a second? I'll second it. Motion seconded by Kruger. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, do we want to wait to try and set a date for?
We don't have to set a date. I can just do it all, and then I will get an agenda item on for, and that's the 21st of December. And I'll contact you all prior to that, and I'll do what I have to do, and I'll set it on for my part of the board meeting.
It's worked good in the past, so I don't see why it wouldn't work again, so it's fine with me. Now, that 23rd board meeting, the agenda is going to be just specific to that topic, is that right?
Okay, the November 23rd is going to be specific to those 3 condemnation matters. If you want to add anything to that meeting, you are free to do so at your next meeting on the 16th.
Okay, very good, just so I kind of get an understanding. Any other questions on what we've just done? Hearing none, we'll move on. Review of Commissioner calendars, or actually administration. Sheila, is that all right to move into the calendars? Commissioner Wright.
Okay, first item, Health and Human Services meeting. Actually, before that was the Judicial Ditch 35 with Wright County. Also, this last week had some issues on the ditch cleanout and reconstruction on County Ditch number 63. The sloping, some of the 1-to-1 slopes back to 2-to-1 is pretty much completed. County and township culverts are more or less taken care of. There's just some crossings and continuing on that cleanout route that are left, but definitely a huge improvement on 63. That's it.
Very good. I also had the HHS meeting on the 26th, and that same day I had the Buffalo Creek Watershed board meeting, and it went well. We've turned one of our improvements from on County Ditch 8 for Joint Ditch 8 over to Buffalo Creek, and they started the wheels turning on it. I had an HRA board meeting, and if you remember at our last meeting, we approved redoing the bonds, and just an FYI for the board is we got one of one of our returns yesterday on the proposed interest rate of 1.9%. So I mean, that would do us, will help us a lot. That's the first one, and it's not exactly a local bank, but close, but it is a local bank so maybe we'll get something to keep watching on if we can get that kind of money on bonding.
Well, just note that's a shorter term bond, so it expires in 2034.
Right.
So you're only talking 12 or 13 years out, whereas many of the 20-year or longer bonds are going to have a higher rate.
But it's still very helpful to our management of our HRA, at least right now. I also had a review and interviews in my Trailblazer meeting. We reviewed the director and we also had some. We interviewed some HR people for jobs, so that went well. It's a new world out there, though. SWCD meeting I had yesterday, and we went on a tour, so I got to see 63, what Paul was talking about. Anybody that's into drainage should drive by 63, that 2-to-1 slope. I mean, I know it's costly, and I know that it's takes a little work to get the land acquisitions right, but go look at it. I mean, in future years, once the grass gets growing on there, you can just about anybody that's familiar with drainage, long-range maintenance should be great. It looks good what I saw out there. So, and we looked at a couple other I don't know the acronyms to them, but when they build the berms in the field, it's kind of like a side slope drainage system, but they hold the water back so it doesn't wash. And they showed us about 5 or 6 places, and one that wasn't adequate, and so you got to see what the real difference is on erosion. And if we want to keep tiling, those are the kinds of things we have to do. That's all I have. Joel.
Just the past couple of weeks, been one of those other commitments that kept me away. Life has kept me away a little bit more than I like, but thanks to Sheila and the rest of the staff for keeping me in the loop and whatever messages I needed to get to those meetings, they took that burden for me. But the one thing I will bring up is on Friday, Sheila, Colleen, and I sat through an audit regarding our finances, and it was very easy to do because of the processes that we have in place and the checks and balances that have been created through administration and financing, and really across the county, including the board. So it was pretty easy to go through. There's probably some things that we could do better, and we will, but I just wanted to point out and thank everybody for their work on that. So that's it.
Thanks, Joe. Mr. Smalls.
Yeah, unlike Joe, my schedule for the last 2 weeks has been pretty busy. So after our last board meeting, we all had a workshop on the 19th, and then that afternoon we all participated in the JD 35 creation. Wednesday the 20th, I had Public Health Advisory Board by Zoom at 7:30 in the morning. On Thursday the 21st, I had Pioneer Land Library meeting, committee that I'm assigned to, by Zoom. That was a 7 in the evening start time on that meeting. Monday the 25th, we held a informational meeting on the redetermination of ditch benefits of County Ditch 8, CD 10, CD 35, CD 36, and CD 37. The meeting was basically totally informational by the viewers who viewed these systems. I estimate that we had 50 or 60 people attending the meeting. The meeting lasted over 3 hours. I believe everyone who attended who had concerns, we allowed time to meet with Joe Jacobs or any other people who have been assigned for the redetermination. So on Tuesday the 26th, we all had HHSC meeting here at the Government Center that morning. Thursday, the 28th, I had CHS Finance Committee meeting in Hutchinson at 9 in the morning. And then that afternoon, UCAP meeting by Zoom. And my last is yesterday, November 1st, Supporting Hands Nurse Family Partnership meeting, which I attended by Zoom from at 9:30 in the morning yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Sheila?
Well, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to note that Commissioner Luthens isn't here today. He had another commitment, but he will be back for our next meeting. We didn't mention that, so people might be wondering where he's at.
I was gonna, I mean,
Yeah.
I know, I get data privacy, but I did talk to him this morning. He told me to express that he was feeling better, and just that thoughts and prayers are with him, that's all.
Okay, thank you. I will go ahead with the items then. Item A, consider approving a correction to the July 20, 2021 McLeod County Board meeting minutes. The correction to the minutes is being made to reflect that the board entered into a closed meeting at 9:32 a.m. for discussion related to real estate offers and solar discussion at their July 20, 2021 meeting. However, the following motions were made after the meeting was opened at 10:28 a.m. Nagel moved, Schmal seconded, and the motion carried unanimously to approve the published for sale pursuant to Minnesota Statute 373.01. Kruger moved, Wright seconded, and the motion carried unanimously to not appeal the findings made by the United States Solar Corporation and USS Waterfall Solar LLC. The July 20, 2021 McLeod County Board meeting minutes previously shown the above mentioned motions as having occurred during the closed meeting portion of the meeting. That is when we had our administrative assistant on leave and had someone filling in, and they did not document it correctly. So this is asking to be updated, please. Thank you.
Second. Motion been made by Commissioner Nagel and seconded by Commissioner Smalls. Any discussion? Hearing done, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B has already been resolved. Item C, consider approval of 2022 Association of Minnesota Counties annual membership dues for a cost of $17,256 with funds from the Board of County Commissioners budget. This shows a 3.3% increase over the 2021 dues.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve paying the dues for 2022. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
what warrants a 3% increase? Are they using population count? What drives our contribution?
Mr. Chair, so typically there is a small increase in this one. That's why we put the percentage in there for you to see. I don't think that it's any different than other years. They did talk about this at our last conference that I attended. I believe that they are allocating more staff resources to assure that we can keep moving forward with their growing workload.
The AMC Board of Directors approves their budget, and this is a part of their budgeting process.
That is correct.
And Mr. Chair, I will note that I believe in my time here since 2017, I've used
doesn't mean it's
AMC more over
justified. It's
2021 and
unnecessary
20 than ever before. So I don't expect that to change in the coming year.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item D, consider approval of commercial lease agreement between Hennick Business Holdings LLC and County of McLeod for 2 large storage structures and surrounding property located on PID 22.011.2350 in County of McLeod, State of Minnesota. Of course, this is the storage buildings that we currently use for Glencoe's Highway Division and the McLeod County Sheriff's Office next to the North Complex. Tenant agrees to the tax abatement of the county portion of the taxes for the property leased during the leaseback period. Lease will commence only upon successful sale and transfer of said property to Hennick Business Holdings LLC no later than November 30th, 2021. And of course, that won't be expected to happen until at least after 11, or November 16th because of the easement. So this is the lease that you all saw in the purchase agreement outlined when they made the offer to purchase the North Complex and the other properties. And the county attorney had reviewed all of that. The county attorney, myself, Jim Fahey, Liz Danielson, and Erica Kellen, and Scott Grivna all reviewed the lease. John Brunkhorst, Elvis Voigt, and Tim Langenfeld as well looked at it after it was written, and we made any changes that were needed. You will receive a $3,000 rebate incentive per month for any month of early possession to them with a maximum of 12 months, and that's with a 30-day notice. So if they were to vacate the property sooner than January 2023, in month increments, you would receive a rebate. This lease covers everything that you were told during the purchase agreement.
This is one of the moving pieces that need to be in place prior to us being able to close on that property. The correction of the minutes was another one of those moving pieces, and I'm working on a couple of the other ones.
And it took me a while to understand and get this verbiage just right, so I hope the rest of the board approves, because I think it's written well, and we're doing what we have to do, so. With that, I'll make a motion to accept the agreement. Seconded by Commissioner Nagel. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Items E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L are all very similar. They all have the same verbiage, except that they all apply to a different union, so you have to pass each one separately. However, I'm not going to read the same thing to you over and over. I will just carry over the verbiage from the agreement or from the recommendation and name the union that we're referencing, if that's okay. Thank you. Item E, consider approval of the health insurance addendum from the McLeod County unit of the Minnesota Nurses Association Union for the 2022 health insurance reopener. The county contribution amounts are equal to the previously approved non-union 2022 McLeod County contribution amounts to eligible employees for county health insurance coverage and health savings account matching contributions.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Nagel and seconded by Commissioner Smalls to approve the health insurance addendum for the nurses union. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item F is the same consideration item as E and asking for the same for the McLeod County unit of the Law Enforcement Labor Services, LELS, local number 329, Sheriff's Department, non-licensed sergeants union.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright and seconded by Commissioner Smalls to approve the health addendum for the Sheriff's Department non-licensed sergeant. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item G, same as the previous item verbiage, but asking for the McLeod County unit of the Law Enforcement Labor Services, LELS, local number 297, Sheriff's Department licensed sergeants union.
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Nagel to approve the health insurance addendum for the Sheriff's Department licensed sergeants union. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item H, same as previous item verbiage, but asking for the McLeod County unit of the Teamsters Public and Law Enforcement Employees Union, local number 320, representing the Public Works unit.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel and seconded by Commissioner Smalls to approve the addendum for the Teamsters Public Works unit. Any discussion? Hearing none, please to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item I, asking for the same verbiage as the previous approved motion for the McLeod County unit of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, also known as AFSCME, AFL-CIO Local Union Number 185-0. Thank you.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright to approve the addendum for the ASME AFL-CIO local union. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item J, same verbiage as the previous request for the McLeod County unit of the Minnesota Public Employees Association, also known as MINP Union, Deputy Unit.
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz to approve, seconded by Commissioner Nagel to approve the MINP health insurance addendum. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item K, same as previous item, but for the McLeod County unit of the Minnesota Public Employees Association, again, MINP Communication Officer and Correctional Officer Unit.
Move to approve.
Motion's made by Commissioner Schmalz. I'll second it. Commissioner Kruger, is there any, to approve the addendum for the MINP Officers and Correction Unit Officers Unit? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item L, consider approval of the same verbiage as of the previous item, but for the McLeod County unit of the Teamsters Public and Law Enforcement Employees Union, local number 320, representing the clerical unit.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright, seconded by Commissioner Nagel to approve the addendum for Teamsters Local 320 representing clerical. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item M, consider bids received for the purchase of McLeod County land and property for sale totaling 1.73 acres, more or less, including PID 22.060.5140, 22.060.5130, and 22.060.4695.
So what are we exactly asking here, Mike? Would you make that a little
Well,
clearer?
there are a couple of variances between what our bid rate requirements were and what their purchase agreement are. Number one, we had required a $5,000 down payment. They offered a $1,000 down payment. Two, they are requesting a 6-month inspection period. And some amount is certainly appropriate. Whether 6 months is the right number, whatever. And three, their purchase agreement says that there are not going to be any tenants on the premises. So if you want to approve it, you are free to do that. If you want to talk with them and see if there's any movement, you're free to do that.
Is it appropriate, Mr. Young, to actually have a closed meeting to be able to have that conversation? I don't know what the right terminology is, but to different bargaining pieces, whatever you want to call them.
Can I just note,
Sure.
Mr. Chair, that they would keep the tenants on the property through the spring of 2022 when they would start construction. The tenants that are currently on the property, only one of the structures is occupied, and we do not have any lease with them. They're the same people who were living there when we purchased the property. They're aware that the property is being marketed for sale, and I've been checking in with them regularly, and they're expecting to move upon sale. So this would actually be a benefit to them, that they wouldn't have to move right away. Also, just to note that even though the down payment of the bid that he's talking about, which is bid number 1, I believe, or the one from Overland Group, even though the down payment is $1,000 and $5,000 was listed, you are still welcome to accept it, I believe. And it doesn't impact the purchase price because it's the same, their total price doesn't change regardless.
What she's saying is if you want to approve it, you go right ahead and do that.
And I kind of realize that there's just a couple of things, and I don't know how to, but I'm actually pretty good with it, except, I mean, it was their offer, and I didn't see, I don't know why we wouldn't try a counter offer. $1,000 at 6 months,
I,
seems,
You wanna get hung up on the 1,000 and the 5,000?
well,
it's
I
not
don't
a
think you should.
considerable amount.
It's just me, I'm one guy.
I understand, but
I
if
think it's
you-
worth more money, personally, but.
So, Mr. Chair, it's not,
the same amount.
it's the same amount. What the board shared with me is the concern was the final purchase price, like Commissioner Nagel is saying. If your property sat for 6 months and you had the difference between 1,000 or 5,000, that's not really enough skin in the game to make a difference for the real estate transaction. Your main concern should be that final purchase price.
The only time it's going to matter is if they back out of the agreement, then under their proposal, they lose $1,000. With the $5,000 purchase money, then they lose the $5,000. That's the only time it's going to matter.
Well, I just don't want to get too in-depth in the board meeting, but I'm a little, a speculator could do that. I could do that for $1,000, take a chance on making money, but I don't want to get into that. I mean, that's the first offer we've had, but I'm one guy,
No,
so
it's not.
I'm not going to get hung up on it.
It's
I
not
just,
the first
I think
offer
it's,
we've had.
a counter offer could be made to them. That was my intention of the closed meeting. I don't think it's appropriate to do it in public, but,
We have 2 bids, Mr. Chair.
pardon?
We have 2 bids, Mr. Chair. It's not the first offer. We have 2, and it was remarketed. So you'll go over the second one as well, or a summary after you review it?
The second one is a $76,000 offer. It comes nowhere near what your requirements were in your bidding documents, and I didn't review it any further.
No, I don't know why. For my part, it's not necessary.
I will also note that we did have several people call on the property while it was posted, but none others were interested in paying the $310,000. And since we did know that there was good interest in the property and that there was a likelihood that a full price offer could come in, they decided not to make offers on the property. So that was 2 people, and one other person found a different spot that was a better fit for them and less expensive. So I don't think that the $310,000 price tag is low. From everything that we reviewed, we also had a market analysis done on the property. The separate pieces were valued differently. In this bid that you're looking at, they would need the entire property. I did clarify that with them and the tenant issue.
So the legal side I've talked about, from the practical side, is you ought to accept it.
The only thing I'd caution about is 6 months. If they do back out, that takes out another year at $1,000. And I just think that's weak, but that's just my opinion.
Well, we'll see where this goes. Mr. Chair, I move to approve the bid or the offer from the Overland Group LLC from the amount of $310,000 with the other listed stipulations.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to accept the offer of $310,000 with the other stipulations. Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Motion's been seconded by Commissioner Wright. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, aye. Roll call. Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
I'm a no.
Yes.
Joel. Commissioner Smalls.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-1. If you have anything else, Sheila?
Yep, item N, notification of board workshop to be held following the county board meeting on November 16, 2021 at the McLeod County Government Center here at 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. The item IDed was noted as item N is actually item O under administration, which I need to go over. Item O, consider approval to use up to $13,000 of allocated funds from the dental liability count 01-2051 to cover up to 9% increase for the 2022 dental insurance premiums. The balance of this account as of November 1, 2021 is $27,984. The request is to use funds previously allocated from the balance built when we were self-funded, which we're not anymore. These funds must only be used for this allocation, so they can only be used for this type of expense. In 2018, $9,000 was used to cover the 7% increase for the 2019 dental insurance premiums from the same account.
So again, what exactly do we have to do?
Consider or approve the use of up to $13,000 of available funds from the dental liability account.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nagel. Motion to use the $13,000 that already exists into the new dental account. Is that correct, Sheila?
Yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I have nothing else.
Open forum. Anyone have any questions? Press relations? No press here. The next board meeting will be held November 16th, 2021 at 9 a.m. McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Motions in order to recess until that time.
So moved.
Made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second? I'll second it. Seconded by Kruger. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're recessed.